Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, da-da-da.
Welcome to the Visionary Voice. I am Lori Diguardi. Today, we have Gayle Petrillo joining us. Let me tell you a little bit about Gayle. Gayle Petrillo brings over 25 years of leadership in operations and human resources to her image consulting firm, First Impressions. Gayle knows that living your greatest potential depends on that all-important first impression, whether it's how you're dressed, your etiquette at a business function, or with your resume and cover letter. Gayle is passionate about helping people be their professional and personal best. She volunteers in her community with Beads of Courage, Junior Achievement, Treasures for Teachers, and other nonprofits. You're a busy woman.
I am.
Welcome to the Visionary Voice, Gayle.
Thank you so much for having me today, Lori.
You're welcome. So the very first question is, what is that vision that you have for life?
My vision is being comfortable in your own skin, having everyone feel their best and look their best, be confident and show that confidence so that others see that, and then people are able to reach their full potential. Because if we're not comfortable in our own skin, that lack of self-confidence shows through. Mm-hmm. And so that's what others perceive of us, where if we're confident and whole, then that's what people see, and we're able to achieve our dreams.
I agree with you. I love that you have that, because when people really are comfortable in their skin, in their clothing, in their environment, and they're confident, then the people that come into contact with you also feel those feelings, like they're more comfortable as well.
Exactly.
And I would like to say it makes the world go round a little better, or a lot better.
A lot better, right? Better. No, a lot better.
Okay. It's clear to me how you help others lead with personal power, with their first impression, with all those really good, juicy things that you shared, and the really important aspect about feeling confident and comfortable in your own skin, and how that changes your environment and your world, and how we can all benefit by that. So how about you, Gayle, personally? How do you lead with personal power?
So, Lori, I would say the way I lead with personal power is all about feeling good within, right? It's the way I dress in the morning. It's the confidence that I feel when I'm dressed comfortably, sharing my best color, sharing my enthusiasm, sharing smiles that are contagious. Leading with personal power means that you're not afraid to take on something new, dip your water into something you haven't done before.
Are you talking about you? Do you try?
I do that, yes. And I did that recently when I decided to launch a fashion show to help launch my business last fall. It was something I had never done. I had no idea what it entailed. And I just started making lists, and I reached out to my contacts. And I think that's a real important piece of leading with power, is knowing that you have a network of people that you can rely on, because none of us have all the answers. And so I certainly didn't have all the answers going into a fashion show. And so I took advice from people. I garnered people together to put this show on. It was an event that was culminated into quite the experience for me personally, because I was able to show my self-confidence in a very unique way, being up on stage with the cameras on me, which I'm not necessarily comfortable with, but also to showcase my models who were everyday people, and how they just took to that, again, not having been on a runway before. I was able to share all of that experience and that power and share it with the audience. The comments and the feedback I got were just incredibly inspiring and overwhelming.
You know what I'm hearing, which may be somewhat of a surprise to some of the viewers, because I've heard this with my coaching clients, and I see women in other experiences have this, and this is what I'm talking about, that there's this false notion that being confident means that somehow you can do it all. But what I just heard from you, which is so important, and it's so important for you to take note of this, is that being confident means that you can ask others for their support, for their expertise. And being confident means that you can take the advice, if it feels right, if it's going to support you. So I love that, because if you were to write a list of all the things about being confident, I think asking for help wouldn't really be under there. And yet, if you're insecure, a lot of women who I coached and I've met along my journey, when they're not feeling confident and they're feeling insecure or they're feeling doubtful about themselves, they're often the women who don't ask for help. So I'm so glad you brought that up.
That's really interesting that I've always been of that mindset when I've been in leadership positions in healthcare, in finance. I've always mentored people above me as well as subordinates. And I think not feeling threatened by hiring people that are smart and bring things to the table, different perspectives than what I have, that's how we benefit the organization we all work for. That's how we make this whole world better. We're not threatened by our peers. We rather accept what they all bring to the table. And I think that's really important. We women need to do that. We need to support one another more than we do, generally speaking. And I think that's right. I don't think, as women, I think we tend to think we're expected to know everything, whether it's how to run the household or how to run our department or our organization. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the biggest fallacies. We need to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and be confident.
Yes, absolutely.
In doing that. How about for you in a time in your life before you were leading with personal power, before you were confident? What did that look like for you? And what was it in your life that was the catalyst that took you from this maybe not confident woman, not leading with personal power? Something happened, had you transform into leading with personal power. So what did that look like in your life, or what was that about?
I was the first person in my family to go to college. I got my associate's degree right out of high school and went to work. In the first few years, I went back to school to get my bachelor's degree with the support of my husband while working full time. And then years later, after moving to Tucson, which was about 20 years ago, I went back to school to pursue my master's. I really lacked self-confidence prior to getting that master's degree. My husband was probably my biggest supporter. And the catalyst to make me lead with personal power was that master's degree. Yes, it's only a piece of paper. Piece of paper, identifies marriage versus just a couple. For me, that piece of paper for my master's degree gave me permission to say it's okay, it's safe to share my ideas, my thoughts, my philosophies with others. I had thoughts and feelings prior to that, we all do, but I never had the confidence to share it, whether it was at a table of a management meeting, at a bigger table of larger stakeholders, the C-suite, when I worked for Banner. That gave me the confidence. That piece of paper made all the difference. The other thing that made a difference in my life and made me able to lead with personal power was getting braces as an adult. I needed braces as a kid.
I did that too.
I needed braces as a child, but my family couldn't afford it, so we didn't get braces. So at about age 48, I won't tell you how many years ago that was.
Yesterday.
I got braces on my teeth. I hadn't smiled before that. I had terrible buck teeth. I was very ashamed of my smile. And so I would talk to people, but I would be the coward in the corner of the room, go to networking events for work functions and not be able to really network because I didn't have that confidence. The braces came off when I was 50 and my inner self shined. The braces coming off enabled me to show my smile, and that boost of energy and confidence, and I share that now with other people.
I love that because I have that in common with you. I had also a big overbite and a lot of space in my teeth, but I was a welfare child. I mean, it too brought me more confidence because I was teased as a young child with the teeth I had, even though they worked really well and they're strong and I still got every single one of them. So I relate to that. Yeah. The other thing that you said about going for your master's degree, somebody once told me that all these degrees and certificates are just permission slips. And he was being cynical with that. But here I'm hearing you be really sincere about how having that permission slip somehow allowed you to show up in a bigger way. Not everybody needs that, but it also, I can relate to that as well. I'm sure like you, like me, when we went to our master's program, we met wonderful people, we collaborated, people thought, hey, you're really smart, and that also helped.
It boosts your confidence when you hear it from other people, and people ask for your opinion, and people change thesis ideas and paragraphs in thesis and cornerstone presentations using the things that you now feel comfortable sharing with others.
Yeah. The whole program was a transformational process for me. And so we have that in common too. And we didn't know that before this interview.
No, surprise.
It was really going through that master's program that helped you become more of a confident woman and lead with personal power. Before that, you didn't have that.
There's one more piece of me that gave me the opportunity and the confidence to serve with personal power. And that was a few years ago. I had valley fever. And through my recovery and after that diagnosis, I wound up with asthma, but I also wound up with a significant hearing loss. And so when I was in situations, either in loud restaurants, or I do a lot of networking, so if I was in a large restaurant with networking people or in a conference room with a lot of people and the noise, I really felt left out because I wasn't hearing a lot of what was going on. And a very brave colleague of mine who was an audiologist suggested that we do a hearing test. And it showed that I was literally off the scale with my hearing from the effects of valley fever. And so I got fitted for hearing aids. And let me just tell you, that can change your life. There are tons of studies that I could quote that share how it changes people's lives. It lets them out of their home. It lets them not be subservient to others. It lets them be self-confident. I got a lot of my additional self-confidence from my hearing aids. They are Bluetooth. I hear my iPhone and telephone calls through my hearing aids. I watch television through my hearing aids. It can be on mute. My husband doesn't even know the TV is on, other than there's a picture on the screen. And I hear the TV, music, whatever. Going to movies was something I dreaded, and now I look forward to going to them because I can hear and not miss most of the conversation. So I encourage people, especially if you're over 60, doesn't matter how old you are, if you find that you have a hearing difficulty, get your hearing checked. Do yourself and your family a service. And if you need them, don't be vain. Get hearing aids. It changes the world.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from you, and thank you for sharing that, is that do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If it's getting a degree, that's going to help you. If it's getting hearing aids, if it's getting braces, if it's getting, asking for help, you don't have to do this alone.
Right.
And there's a bit of a confidence level that one requires to ask. But once you ask and get what you need, then your confidence can just explode. Right. Wow, okay, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing all of those things. What one aspect of you being you helps you lead with personal power? That integral part of you that's unique.
I have to say that's my smile, because I believe smiles are contagious. And no matter what kind of day you're having, whether you're in the grocery store and there's somebody a little grumpy pushing a crying child in a shopping cart, or wherever you may be, if you can just smile, you have the power to change someone's day. And it doesn't matter in what environment, what circumstance, but that smile, it's as contagious as the flu. And you need to share that with people because it makes people's lives change.
Yeah. And it's a whole lot better to spread a smile.
Than the flu. That's my healthcare background coming out.
Yeah. And smiling also does us good because it's, it helps with the feel-good hormones.
It does.
So smiling, that's a great aspect. And you have a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
and it makes me smile, so she's right. Okay, Gayle, what are 3 visionary or leadership qualities that you would recommend for our viewer to try on for size, to lead with more personal power?
Sure. 3 leadership qualities, and I'll take 2 together. I think honesty and integrity go hand in hand because all we have is our reputation. And to have integrity means that you're able to build rapport with people, you're able to build respect, and that's so important to your self-confidence and to share that honesty and integrity. I think also empathy is really important. If we don't lead with empathy, if we're not able somehow to walk in someone else's shoes, then we're not good, strong leaders. We need to hold people accountable, but we also need to do that with empathy. And I think that's really important, and something some people feel is a negative for women leaders. I think it's a necessity for women leaders. It's something we bring to the table that men leaders don't necessarily bring. Collaboration is the other one. And I've touched on this a few minutes earlier in our interview. Collaboration is admitting that you can't do it alone. Collaboration is taking positive things from others and sharing your strength with others. And the more people involved in a project makes it more successful. So I think collaboration, men and women together, because then you get the different kinds of brains together, because we all know men think in little boxes, women think more broadly, we're very emotional. We need to bring all those pieces to the table, and that's collaboration.
Okay, so the first one was honesty/integrity.
Yes.
The second one was empathy.
Yes.
And the third one was collaboration.
Yes.
Those are excellent qualities, so I recommend those can be a highlight in anybody's life. What I like to do sometimes is take one of these qualities that one of the visionaries on the Visionary Voice share, put that as a focus for the day or the week, and just let that inform how I show up. And then eventually, I mean, all of them come together and they're just a part of you. But hearing what 3 qualities are recommended helps us put a focus on them to see where we are with that and how it can enhance our life and our leadership. So those are great.
And I think they're individual, but I think it's important to pull them together because they are interrelated.
Yeah. Okay. So if an organization or the viewer wants to reach out to have you help them with the first impression or to learn more about what services you offer, how can they reach you?
So First Impressions has a website. It's www.firstimpressions1.com. You can also reach me by phone, 602-621-0042.
And what about your email?
Oh, my email. So that is firstimpressions602@gmail.com.
Is there anything else that you would like to share before we tie this interview up?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity today, but also for all you do for inspiring and empowering women, particularly local, but also on the national forefront. It's amazing the kinds of influence that you have with women in our community, and thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much, Gayle. All right, that wraps up the Visionary Voice for today. If you would like to lead with more personal power, please reach out to me, Lori, at leadwithpersonalpower.com. Check out the other interviews on the Visionary Voice on the YouTube channel, which is Lead with Personal Power. And follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And that's it for today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, da-da-da.